It's got Ed Burns, Chris Noel. And guest stars, the Supremes, the Four Seasons, the Righteous Brothers, the Hondells, the Walker Brothers. 9 great song hits. Beach Ball, catch it.
We just heard the trailer for Beach Ball here on WFDU FM, a film featuring our guest today, Chris Noel. Chris Noel has appeared in many, many films you might remember, like Get Yourself a College Girl, also A Soldier in the Rain with Steve McQueen and Jackie Gleason, Girl Happy with Elvis, The Glory Stompers for Singles Only. She also made a variety of TV appearances on shows like My Three Sons and Perry Mason and Bewitched, and a whole lot more. We'll cover all that and something else that Chris Noel has been involved in for many, many years that caused her to turn her back on Hollywood. Chris Noel joins us. You started out as a model, is that correct?
Yes, I was a commercial model in New York City, and I was a Rheingold girl, and I made some money being a Rheingold girl, and I had a tiny part in a movie that Sandy Howard directed. He wrote it and he directed it, and he worked with me, to do the part because I didn't know how to act. I wasn't an actress.
Right.
And but people would always say to me in New York when I would go on casting calls, they'd go, "You belong in Hollywood. You don't belong here in New York." And I kept hearing it and hearing it and hearing it. I had no idea what they meant, but I decided I wanted to go to Hollywood. So I did. I went, and I talked to a lot of agents. And then I called up the one agent and said, "Okay, I've decided I want you to be my agent." And he absolutely roared. That was the funniest thing. Because they make the decisions. And they started sending me out on auditions. And they took me over to Universal. And I was under, I don't know, I guess it was a 6-week contract to them. At that time, they were putting together a new program called Review, R-E-V-U-E, for television. And then they took me in a couple weeks later and had me do a monologue for Monique James in casting, and she hated me. She told them to send that girl back where she came from. She has absolutely no talent. Worst voice I've ever heard. Just send her back wherever she came from.
Oh, my goodness.
I was pretty upset for a while, and 3 weeks later, I was under contract to MGM, which was fantastic. I loved being at MGM. The best hairdressers, the best makeup people. If I needed to go to premieres and stuff, they would let me go in and find a dress and let me borrow it.
You did Soldier in the Rain there?
No, actually I didn't. I did that for Allied Artists.
Oh, okay. It wasn't uncommon for MGM to loan people out to studios.
They did do that. Yeah, they did.
Because Soldier in the Rain, I think, is your first major role, and there you are starring opposite Steve McQueen.
Yeah, because I just came from New York because I had the audition, and I looked at him and I said, "You were great in The Great Escape." And he looked at me and went, "How did you see that?" And I said, "Well, didn't Merrick had a premiere in New York, and I went to it," and that really impressed him. I think that's how I got the part. He just really wanted me.
And what was it like working with Steve McQueen?
He was very professional. He was a great actor and quite the ladies' man. Really? Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that about him.
Me as he one day started kissing me, and I'm going, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? He says, "I go to bed with all my leading ladies."
That wasn't in your MGM contract.
No, it wasn't. I go to bed with all my leading ladies.
Were you doing TV at that time, too?
Well, I did The Lieutenant. Each episode, I played a different person.
Oh, really? In each one? You were a recurring actress, I guess, on the show?
Yes, I was let me see, one time I remember I was a nightclub singer. Another time I was, I guess, in the Marine Corps. Because I had because it was the Marines, and I had on my uniform. And let me see, what other, I can't remember the other, I think I played a nurse. all the different whatever. I was always playing something different. I mean, what a great way to be able to start out in your career, you know?
Oh, sure. You get a lot of experience playing various different roles.
By the way, that's just coming out, I understand. They're finally putting it out on DVD.
Who would think that Gene Roddenberry would do that show? Then he went right into Star Trek, I think, right after that.
Ooh, boy, you know your movies.
Oh, I love.
Don't you?
I'll tell you, I watch nothing but old movies and old TV shows. The TV shows that are on today, I can't really relate to them. And people say to me, "Oh, you just live in the past."
Why? Because you love Elvis, and because of the fact that you're aware, and you like the older movies. No, I don't think that's living in the past. I think it's just really appreciating things, art that really was wonderful.
I just tell people, no, I appreciate quality.
That's a good answer. That's
right.
For sure. I don't think they make much of anything that's very good anymore.
I don't think so.
I do love The Voice. And right now the show that follows it, can't think of it, Revolution.
Uh-huh.
Once in a while there's something really good. I like some of the cop shows in New York and that sort of thing, but I like Law and Order and some of those. But there's not much of anything of interest for me.
I don't think current movies are that hot either.
No.
I don't know what happened to us.
I go to the movies and I go, walk out and go,
Yeah, exactly.
And I know it's probably terrible. I am definitely sounding like an old fuddy-duddy.
I'm 42 and I'm looking at them and going, blah. I see these people, I go, how is this person a star? There's no charisma here at all. Well, whatever.
Need some new Elvises.
Exactly.
Some Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
But you went into, I know you did the beach movies as well. You did Beach Ball with Eddie Burns.
Yes, I did. And that was fun. I did Wild Winter.
Wild Wild Winter. That was 66, yeah.
That was a beach movie shot in the snow. Funny.
And Girl Happy, which came out in 1965, Elvis Presley. I watched that movie and I say, now why is he with Shelley Fabre? Go with Chris Noel. What is his problem? Now, I know he liked her, and she was in a couple of his movies.
Yeah, she was. They got along really great.
Yeah.
Because she's a doll.
All right. Well,
she was just a big doll. She was like really sweet and a real doll, and he got along real well with her, which is a good thing.
Now, how was he on the set?
He was wonderful. He was absolutely wonderful. He was all the good things you've ever heard about him. That was Elvis Presley. He wanted to have fun. He kept a great attitude. He was always teasing, and he knew his lines. He was on target, and he worked very, very hard, and he was a wonderful actor. And people made fun of him all the time in Hollywood. Everyone always thought they were better than him. What a joke.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, and if you did an Elvis film, you knew at least you were going to make money.
Yeah, that's true.
Every one of his movies made money. And they can call them silly, immature, same plot over and over again, different locale. Whatever they want to say, his movies made money.
And on top of that, nobody sang like him.
No. I know a lot of the tribute artists, and they're all, some of them are really cute, and some of them are nice, and some of them are egos. Like you can't even begin to imagine. It's so stuck up, and they're a joke. I just want to laugh. If Elvis really knew who you were, he'd lay you flat. That's sometimes what I feel like saying to a couple of them.
It's interesting, all those people that may have made fun of Elvis when he was making his movies in the 60s, I bet their movies are not on DVD and Blu-ray. Elvis Presley movies are always out.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm sure you can even online, you could probably stream them on the internet. I'm sure eventually they'll probably send them directly into our brains at some point, with the way things are going.
Oh, my gosh.
Can't you
From 1965, that's Elvis Presley with Girl Happy, and our guest today was in that movie, Chris Noel, among many other movies which we were talking about. But 1965 was also, if I'm not mistaken, the first year that you went to Vietnam, and that changed everything for you, didn't it?
Yeah, 66 is, December 66 is when I went to Vietnam. Of course it did. War changes everybody. I was no longer interested in the nonsense, Hollywood nonsense.
Did you go with Bob Hope's USO shows?
No, actually, how I got over there was because I had the show in Armed Forces Radio, where I became the first woman since World War II to broadcast on Armed Forces Radio, which goes all throughout the world, the free world, wherever we have our troops.
Mm-hmm.
And I became really popular, particularly in Vietnam, and they want to know, who is she? So, actually, I wanted to go. I had asked to go with Bob Hope, and I was turned down. So, I was asked by the Pentagon to go to Vietnam to build the morale of the troops. And that's what I did. I went by myself. And every time I went, I'd pretty much go by myself. Anytime I wanted to go again, I'd say, I want to go again in August, and they'd let me go.
From what I understand, the Viet Cong had a bounty on your head.
Yes, they did, for $10,000.
I've heard your shows. I've heard at least 3 of them. You know, if you look around online, you can you always open it with "Hi, love." That's your signature.
And I always would end it with "Hi, love." Right. Here's a kiss from Chris. Right.
Hi, love. Welcome, everyone, to Your Date with Chris. And let's get the show rolling with the Dave Clark 5, and you've got what it takes. The Dave Clark 5, and you got what it takes. And wow, you can sure say that again. And that goes especially for Captain Ken, who sent me not just a Big Red 1, but also a pocket tab version of the Big Red 1, as well as their battalion crest. And he says that our motto means, let us carry the burden. And he also says that I wish you were the burden. Isn't that too much? Well, like I said, you've got what it takes. And here's Miss Sandy Posey with a beautiful song called What a Woman in Love Won't Do. Sam and Dave there. And in just a moment, we're going to have some music to watch Girls by Andy Williams.
It's the perfect combination. Easy listening and you and AFRTS.
And you play a lot of great rock and roll.
Yes, I did.
In fact, it started out, it wasn't rock and roll initially. Weren't you playing standards or swing or something?
Yes, I was. A lot of standards in the beginning. And then I went to Vietnam, and after I came back, I said I'd like to play rock and roll on Top 40. And they'd go, who do you think knows more about this, you or me? And I went, me. I was just over there in Vietnam, and I heard what they said to me. And you want to know something?
What?
They let me do it.
How many years did you do that show for Armed Forces Network?
66, 67, 68, 69, 70. And March of 71 was, I think, when they stopped playing my shows.
Wow. Do you have them all?
I have a lot of them. I have them in Missouri, in Skidmore, Missouri, which I've got to get them back one of these days. Every time I try, they convince me not to take them because they're in boxes and they're heavy and I don't know.
Well, I
don't know if I'm ever going to get them.
Oh, I would love to. They should be transferred to CD for safekeeping if they haven't been already.
Yeah, and I think somebody's willing to do this for me too. I just have to make it happen.
Yeah. When you went over to Vietnam, I'd also read that the helicopter you were riding in was fired upon.
Yes, and then we went down into a field, and it was actually into the rice paddies, next to a suspected VC village.
Mm-hmm.
And then way out in the distance, I see all these men running towards us, and it was our men coming to save us. And they came and formed perimeter around us to save us until another helicopter could come in and get me out of there.
And you never forgot those guys?
No, how could I?
No, and
I could never forget them after I know what they went through.
And that's why you started the Vetsville Ceasefire House.
Yes, because I got fed up. I got, worst of all, my first husband, who was a Green Beret, committed suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was never anyone to talk to. I didn't even mention the word to anybody. If I did, people looked at me like I was crazy. So I just learned not to ever say anything. You didn't talk about suicide back then.
Right.
And then I kept noticing that all these guys were really sick, and they were dying from Agent Orange.
Mm-hmm.
And then the post-traumatic stress disorder was so heavy among everybody. And then I was in Washington, across from the White House one day, and I walked into this park of homeless people, and I just decided to walk in among them and talk to them. And I found that most of them were veterans, and I was just totally appalled. They were all homeless, and I'm going, oh my gosh, now nobody even wants them.
If people want to find out and help you with Vetsville Ceasefire House, can they go online?
Yes, they can. They can go to ceasefirehouse.org,
Mm-hmm.
like ceasefirehouse, like stop firing. I named it after the movie I did with Don Johnson called Ceasefire.
Right.
So ceasefirehouse.org, and then I think we're vetsville.net.
They can also go to your site, and I'm sure that'll be linked. They can go to chrisnoel.com.
Yes, they can, and there's a link. Yes.
I just clicked on it, and there's a picture of you in a bikini. That's the first thing we see in pink
Well,
at the very top.
I was very famous for my bikinis.
Sue Ann, where in the world did you almost get that bikini?
I wear a size 10, but a size 8 looks so good. I bought a size 6.
Excuse me, but didn't we promise not to bother with men?
We did, but there's no reason why I can't let them know what they're missing.
Is that the costume you're going to wear to the party tonight?
Don't be silly. I couldn't eat dinner in this. Everything would show.
And people can also go to your website and get your books. We didn't even talk about that. We got to talk about your books here. We've got Confessions of a Pinup Girl.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. Then we've got Filming Girl Happy.
That's all. Yeah, that's about Elvis in the movie. Uh-huh.
And also Vietnam and Me.
Yes. Well, you sound like a really terrific person. Maybe one day I'll get to meet you in person. I do hope so.
Well, that would be lovely, and it's been a pleasure talking to you.
You're more than welcome. And hello to all your listeners. Bye. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, here it
Here's
goes.
a kiss from Chris.